It's January 18th, 2012, and I'm with Spencer Carlough at his home, and we thought we'd make a little video here. So I wanted to get Spence to talk a little bit about his parents so that maybe his grandchildren and great-grandchildren could learn a little bit about him. What was your father's name, Spencer?
Milton Provan Carlough.
Milton Provan. And what do you remember about him? Was he
Very active man.
Very active?
Very active. He was a good athlete. He played golf. It played into his life, but which was not long. He died at an early age, probably when he was in his 50s. 45, 50 or something like that.
Do you remember how old you were when he died?
Yes, I was at Bucknell.
You were at Bucknell, so this was
1947, 48.
Right. Do you know what caused him to die?
Yeah, that was early in the days of sulfur. And they used sulfur as a healing medication. And they didn't know the effects of sulfur and sulfur drugs, which they later found out they were not all best thing. Used properly, they would have been all right. But
what did he have wrong with him? What were they trying to treat him for?
I don't really know.
But he died from the side effects of sulfur drug.
I'm in Bucknell at 46 with Emily, and he's someplace in Timbuktu trying to make a buck selling it.
Where was he born?
Probably in Patterson, New Jersey.
Patterson, New Jersey. And what type of work did he do?
Well, he started with the Fleischman's Yeast Company when he came back to the service. My father was in the cavalry. He was with the Rough Riders in Cuba.
Oh, really?
He had a horse, and he was a sergeant, and he has tour duty in Cuba. He came home and he wanted to get married, and he married, of course, my mother, but she wasn't quite sure that she wanted to be the Provan. She said, "You were born a Carlough. Will Carlough was your father, so I want our wedding ring and so forth to be Carlough." So that's how close we came to being Provans instead of Carloughs. But his career was based on his knowledge of the baking industry, and he would go around and started out just as a salesman, and going and helping the local bakers to improve their product and what was new on the market for baking, not just for getting loaves of bread, but for institutional baking and that sort of thing, which is pretty much what Herbie followed.
Is that how Herbie got into doing that? Did he work with your father?
Well, sometimes, yeah. He was, I know one of the ones, I think it was Thomas Muffins. Thomas Muffins was having trouble with some phase of the operation, and my dad went to the plant to visit them and threw in something like this or that, and or timely on the proofing of the bread or whatever, I don't know. But they were consultants in the baking industry, and that's why Herbie went to baking school.
Okay.
He had some baking school and got a certificate in baking, and went to work for Hanson Bakery, which was a baking company in New York. But he lived a full life. His sales personality took over from the true baking. I mean, he ended up working the whole lines of the different bakeries just to see what they were doing, and he could help them do it. And that's how I worked. I worked summers in the bakeries. on the slicing machines, cutting the bread for,
When you were in high school? In the summers in high school?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Now you say that your father was a Rough Rider. Was he down there with Teddy Roosevelt?
Yes. In fact, him and I were visiting in San Antonio, and they have in San Antonio in the hotel, they have pictures of the 15th Cavalry. My dad was in the 15th Cavalry,
Wow.
and he was a horseman. And however, we never could find a picture of him with him mounted. That was a kind of
What were they fighting in Cuba? What war was that? Is that the Spanish-American War?
fighting for Cuba.
Fighting for Cuba? That was before World War I, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see. Well, I can't.
Did your dad have to fight in World War I?
No.
He didn't. So.
No. Thornton was the first one to be in service. Of course, he took the flight training and became a captain in the Air Force. He's got a glorious record. Hartman does. His life after getting shot down a couple of times, they sent him to Capri for rest and so forth. But Hazel knows the letters and what Thornton had done, and this escaped into the underground, and they were dressed up in blue jeans and local.
Wow. So Thornton was how much older than you?
Oh, Thornton was, let's see, Bob is older than me. Bob was 2 years older than me. And Thornton was about 3 years older than Bob.
Okay. Okay. Now, you say your dad was a good athlete. Did he play sports in high school?
When he was in, I can't get time related, but I know he did try out for the Washington Athletics, and he played, I think, in a game or something.
Washington Athletics was a baseball team?
Yeah.
Professional baseball team.
Yeah.
So he was a pretty good baseball player in high school.
Well,
Tried out and got to play in a game.
I don't know about that.
What other sports did he play in high school?
Golf.
Golf?
Yeah.
Was he a pretty good golfer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever get to play golf with him?
Oh, no.
You didn't?
No, I wouldn't take it my father's Sunday. He had his buddies.
So he didn't play golf with his children?
He sold baking goods. He said, who we played with, I don't know, Bill. Probably the local golfers, I don't know. He enjoyed golf. And Kenny still has a couple of my dad's clubs.
Does he? Wow.
So he coached a semi-baseball team.
Oh, really?
Semi-baseball, the Urbana club. He managed after he had gone past his active days of playing ball, he was the manager of the Urbana club.
Mm-hmm. That's
Right
good.
at the time of Christy Mathewson. He played games with Christy Mathewson.
Did he really? Wow. That's pretty amazing.
But he lived a full life. He was always on the go and doing things. He was a good household handyman around the house and things like that. And my dad did them. He didn't hire people to fix things or paint or things like that. He did it. Eventually, Herb grew into that, and grew into the plumbing business, fixing plumbing in the house or electrical things, fix them in the, all the boys had home exposure to home fixing up jobs.
Now, what when the Depression came, do you remember? Did your dad, did he continue to work during the Depression? Did he? Well, that's good. A lot of people didn't have jobs.
Oh yeah. In fact, he might have been promoted during it. He started out as a salesman for Fleischmann cheese, and he got transferred to Washington, D.C. That's where I was born. And he had they had a truck and buggy. A horse pulled their truck.
Huh.
I don't know too much about that, but I can read all those stories about Uncle Edward and my father and Uncle Edward. And so he was very active and
Was any civic organizations?
he was a good father.
Did you know was he in any civic organizations?
Civic?
Yeah, like Rotary or Lions Club or Kiwanis Club?
They weren't around.
They weren't around back then?
No.
Yeah. Did he go to church on a regular basis?
No.
He didn't?
No, he enjoyed it and he got money for it.
He enjoyed what?
He enjoyed baseball. He enjoyed playing ball.
But did he go to church?
Church?
Church.
No, he was playing golf.
He was playing golf. and he played baseball too. And he got paid for playing baseball?
That was a short period of time in his career.
How about when he coached? Did he get paid for coaching?
Yes.
He did get paid for coaching, so it was like a semi-pro team.
Right.
So the players got paid, but they also had jobs.
Right.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting. Now, what did you tell me where he was born? You say he was born in Patterson, New Jersey?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's true. If it wasn't Patterson, it was.
Nearby.
But Patterson was a big city.
Do you know how tall your dad was?
Pardon?
Do you know how big he was? How tall he was? How much he weighed?
Yeah. I think I saw it on a certificate. He was about 5'8" or something, 5'9".
Was he a muscular guy?
Yes.
Was he?
Yes. He could take a horse and grab the horse by his rear foot and just turn the leg a certain way and the horse would fall down.
Really? Oh, so he was pretty good with horses, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, he was in the cavalry.
Yeah. Did he have experience with horses as a boy growing up? So he learned about horses in the Army?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, he had an interesting life, but it was a sudden death.
Now, was he, as a boy growing up, would you say that your father was a strict father?
He was strict.
Was he a strict father?
Strict?
Strict.
What were you saying?
Strict. Was he a strict father? Did he punish his children? Did you ever get a whipping?
No.
He never whipped you?
No, all he had to do was raise his voice and you moved.
Oh, really? So he was a pretty tough guy, huh? And you all did what he said.
Mm-hmm.
You behaved him.
We respected him. He was good to us. We had 2 cars in the garage, all through a company car and our own Hudson.
Yeah, you guys were pretty wealthy. If you had two cars back then.
We drove up to Connecticut to New Haven. My Uncle Phil, who worked in the shirt industry, making shirts, Berkeley shirts, and my mother was getting her driver's license, so she was going to take this experience of driving a car. And she got in the New Haven to New York City traffic, and she got so nervous She's driving to the car. She said, I don't want to drive, I don't want to drive. We were in the back.
So she decided not to drive.
Yeah.
She didn't. So she never got her license.
I don't think so.
Huh. So you had one car was a Hudson. What was the other car?
I think that was a Chevrolet.
Chevrolet.
Chevrolet or Ford, it had to be.
Yeah, that's all they had back then, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you had Chevrolet Hudsons, Fords, Studebakers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know. Ralph, when he came to visit us, he drove a car. When he came to see Grace. And we used to tease him a lot. My dad, he was a fun guy and a good athlete and a good provider. He took care of his family and clothing and wives and that sort of thing. And we were not wealthy. Nobody was wealthy. But we lived a frugal life.
When you were growing up, Spence, did you all have a refrigerator?
Yeah.
Did you? Was it an electric refrigerator?
Mm-hmm.
Was it?
Frigidaire.
Frigidaire. Wow.
With the top coils. Big top round coils. Sitting on top of the refrigerator.
Did your mom and dad get along?
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see them fight?
No.
Never did. So your dad was real nice to your mother.
Yeah. The only thing there was some jealousies that you didn't ask me to dance, or you should have asked me before you asked so and so. And she cried, and I can see her crying sometimes because the way my father acted, he was outgoing, and my mom would stay at the table and sit at the table, I guess. This is stories. I never saw this. I never saw them going like that.
Yeah, well, your dad he was a businessman. He was a salesman, so he probably went out a lot, did a lot of socializing and stuff. While your mom stayed home with the kids, tended to the house and baked and everything.
Well, she might even get dressed up and go to the fair and sit down with her friends at a circle table with maybe 3 other ladies or something like that, and pout because she didn't get to dance or something. You danced with Mrs. So. But I can hear those things, but they were not bad. I mean, they were, we had a nice home.
That's good. So you have fond memories of your father.
Oh yeah.
You have fond memories of your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The boys all did well. I mean, Herbie and Thornton were Boy Scouts, and they led the Boy Scouts. Boy Scouting was so big in our church, we had 2 troops.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Were you in the Boy Scouts?
Mm-hmm.
Were you?
Yeah,
Okay.
so was Bob, so was Thornton. We were all Boy Scouts.
Did you go on any like camping trips while you were in the Boy Scouts?
Mm-hmm.
Did you like camping?
We had tents. Yeah, it's fun. Yep. But he's had a short life, and that's too bad. I could have seen my father as a grandfather, but he didn't have a long longevity.
So he didn't live long enough to be a grandfather?
Hmm?
He didn't live long enough to be a grandfather?
Yeah, he did. 46, by 46, my older brothers were like Herbie, and he was probably driving.
So Herbie had children by then. So Herbie had children, and so did Thornton by the time your father died.
Mm-hmm.
So. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. Anything else you can tell us about your father, Spence?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you remember about him?
Loved him a lot.
Did you? Well, that's good.